Welcome to Squat Rex. Tonight I'm going to show you different rack positions to hold the bar when squatting, and also different depths at which to squat. The first bar position that I'm going to show you is the high bar position. This is the position that most Olympic lifters use. The high bar position is held on top of the traps and is a very secure position. It doesn't require a whole lot of effort to hold the bar securely in place if you find that sweet spot on the top of your traps. Also, the high bar position is less demanding on shoulder flexibility. Generally speaking, Olympic lifters will be using the high bar position. If you squat in a full squat, which I will show you later, this is typically the position that you would use. When you set up for a high bar squat, you'll come under the bar, make sure that you are centered underneath the bar, and you will move your head backwards so that the bar is not going to be resting on your vertebrae. Find that spot on top of the traps where it's secure, and then lift up. It's a very secure position. I can pull down the bar and it should not slip whatsoever. I'm going to show you the high bar position from another angle. Same things apply. When you set up, you want to move your head backward. Then you want to find that sweet spot on top of your traps before you lift the bar up. This is the high bar position. Beginners will typically struggle to find that sweet spot on top of their traps. And it might require a few sessions, and it might actually require adding weight to the bar for them to find that spot. But once they do, it will become a very secure and comfortable position for them with practice. The second position I'm going to show you is the low bar squat position. The bar will be resting on top of the rear deltoids. Because it is resting lower on the body, it requires more shoulder flexibility and upper back tightness in order to hold the bar in place. Because the bar is lower on your body, typically people will squat with more forward lean, and they will be moving their hips further back in order to compensate for the lower center of gravity. When setting up for the low bar squat position, you want to make sure that your upper back is as tight as possible. So if you imagine doing a rear double bicep pose while you are squatting, it will help you find that spot on top of your rear delts. As you set up for the squat, again, to help you get that upper back into position, you want to push your head backwards. Again, I'm going to imagine that I'm doing a rear double biceps pose, and the bar should be resting squarely on my rear delts. It's a very secure position. However, if I lose upper back tightness, the bar could slip down my back. So it's critical that I maintain a very tight upper back throughout the movement. Here's the low bar squat position from another angle. I'm going to show you the difference between a high bar and low bar squat position one more time. High bar, low bar. High bar, low bar. Squat depth is an issue for many trainees. If you go to any gym in the country, you're going to see a lot of different styles of squats. You're going to see a lot of different depths. You'll hear different terms being thrown around. You'll hear the term full squat. You'll hear the term parallel squat. You'll hear the term half squat, quarter squat, ass to grass, ass to ankles, ass to floor. All of these terms are pretty much used to describe two kinds of squats. The first kind of squat is called the full squat. It's also called the Olympic squat. It's also called the ass to ankle or ass to grass squat. You will start at the top of the squat and you will squat down until your hamstrings are in contact with your calf muscles. Let me give an example. This is a full squat. Now this is as far as I can possibly go. It is as deep as I can possibly go. I could perhaps get a little deeper if I were to narrow my stance, but this is about as deep as I can possibly be. This is a full squat. The second squat is called a parallel squat. Most people think that they are squatting at least a parallel. However, if you go to just about any gym, most people will be squatting much higher than a parallel squat. Parallel is defined by powerlifting rules as when the crease at the hip is level with the top of the knee. This is a parallel squat. This is at parallel. This is a quarter squat. Notice it is about halfway between parallel, bottom position, and standing upright. Again, quarter, parallel, full. Sometimes the distinction between a full squat and a parallel squat can be fuzzy. Let me give you an example. If I take a very close stance, and if I allow my knees to drift very far forward and try to keep my hips as close as I possibly can, I can be rock bottom here at the bottom. And really, my hips are not so much lower than the tops of my knees. Now, this position will require a lot more ankle flexibility, and it will put a lot more stress on my knees. But this is a full squat position, and it's not really so far below parallel. If I move my legs out, and if I make an effort to shift my hips backward as I squat, and if I am flexible enough to hit a full squat position, you can see that my knees are well above that crease at the hip line. Should I be full squatting, or should I be squatting parallel, or do I even need to squat to parallel? It's a tough question to answer because I don't know your individual needs, your goals, your physical limitations. Generally speaking, for most trainees, they'll want to squat with as full a range of motion as they can safely perform. It's certainly something you should talk with your coach, your personal trainer, and perhaps your physician about. Occasionally you hear people complain about shoulders, elbows, and wrists when squatting. Make sure that the bar that you're using is not bent. What you'll want to do is you'll want to sight down the bar and twist the bar, checking to see if there are any bends in the bar. The second thing you want to look at when you're selecting a bar to squat with are the sleeves, which are the part of the bar that you put the plates on. If the sleeves are frozen, meaning as you turn the sleeves, the bar itself turns as well. If these are frozen, you probably need a new bar. As the plates turn, it's also going to be rolling on your back. It's going to put a lot of stress on your elbows, your shoulders, and your wrists. As far as the width of your grip goes, you generally want to take as narrow a grip as is comfortable. When you set up for your squat, if your hands are out here, it is harder to maintain that upper back tightness than if your hands are in close. So, try to maintain as narrow a grip as is comfortable for you.